American Water Polo.
Hi, this is Damon Newman from American Water Polo, and we're here today with head coach of the women's program at Princeton University, Derek Ellingson, to better understand the college recruiting process. How you doing, Derek?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Appreciate you taking the time.
No problem.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and a little bit more about Princeton.
So this is now my 17th year at Princeton. I was an assistant coach for many years and then just took over the women's program a couple years ago. And Princeton's an Ivy League institution in New Jersey with high academic standards and about a 5,000 student body.
Okay. Awesome. So it's been your experience, obviously, working in the college ranks for a number of years. How do athletes get recruited? How should they promote themselves?
They should really reach out and figure out where they want to go to school and then reach out and see if that school has water polo as an activity. And once they narrow it down to the schools that match up that criteria, they should really contact the coach directly through email or through a phone call and make sure that you consistently do it. Just one might get lost, but if you do two or three, it'll be a lot easier to recognize.
Okay, excellent. So typically, what's been your experience, say, with high school and club coaches? What's their role in helping an athlete get noticed?
Their role is they can shoot emails or text if we know the club coaches. They can shoot us text us and give us a call. But if we don't know them, they should really reach out and tell us their thoughts and their what they think that the strengths are of their players. But they can do emails and give us their information. So if we have more to ask, we can give them calls and give them emails or send them emails.
Right. So you have a network of coaches that you know and that you rely on. But if there's a new coach, you don't necessarily know who they are. You would recommend them just shooting you an email and kind of introducing yourself and kind of giving it more.
Yeah. They can call if they get my number somehow out of the blue. It'd be great. I mean, they can call me as well. I'll answer as much as I can. But the big thing would be emails and get back to them when we have questions or information that we need.
Okay, excellent. So, what are some of the character traits you're looking for when you're talking to a prospective student athlete? What are some of those intangibles, those character traits that you're looking
for? Ability to play a lot of positions is part of my thing. I want people to be able to defend everywhere. I want people that work hard, that are easily coached, and have the ability to motivate themselves.
Okay. Yeah. Self-motivation is something key. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
When should an athlete start this process? Obviously, NCAA rules forbid contact, freshman and sophomore year. But what would be your recommendation to an athlete when should they start reaching out, start kind of making their list?
They should start contacting college coaches without responses. They can do that in their sophomore year, just to give them an idea of who they are, where they are, what their grades are, what kind of tournaments they're playing in, and stuff like that. They really should reach out sometime in their sophomore year. And then once they're in the junior year, they should try and get a conversation going with those college coaches and try and get on their radar. So when they go out to tournaments, they can look down the list and say, oh, I got contacted by that player, or I've got contacted by that coach, and make the two get together, and then they watch them play. And then after that, they keep that contact going, sending them transcripts, sending them updates, all that kind of stuff moving forward.
Okay. Excellent. So when you do have an athlete that you're interested, you're exchanging, emails, maybe even text messages, and you're going to get on a phone call with that person, maybe for the first time. How would you recommend an athlete prepare for that call?
Just make sure that if you have questions, make sure you have them lined up. It's the worst thing when you sit there and they kind of in silence. So if you have the interest to make a phone call, make sure that you have questions lined up. Make sure that you know where the school is and what the requirements are to get into school, and make sure that those match up well. But make sure that if you have questions on student body, student life, all those kind of questions that the coach can answer for you, that you have them kind of lined up and prepped and ready to go when you're on that call.
Perfect. Obviously, with we're all inside, the COVID-19 pandemic. There's some loss of some large tournaments that just generally would be played in the summertime, maybe postponed or even canceled. what would be your recommendation to a PSA to be seen, to get in front of a coach?
They should be working on game film from your coach, get game film from other parents, get all that stuff ready to go, because that's really the only coach can evaluate. It's good to get college or high school and club coaches to get a hold of us and talk to us about those game films, and more realistically than highlight films, because anybody can really score whenever it is. But the consistent how you move and how you play defense and your game awareness all comes out in the game film. So I'd much rather have a quarter here, a quarter there, of pretty good games, or whatever you think the game is your best game is. That's fine. Just make sure that you have game film that you have ability to send them, so they can evaluate it when there's no games going on that they can go to.
Right. Excellent. So just have some game film ready, and just make sure it's clear, make sure the coach can understand it, and send it as much as you can, really.
Tell them what number you are.
Yeah, that is really important. So finally, you've been at this for a number of years. What's a common misconception that parents and athletes might have about the recruiting process in general?
I think that parents and kids, especially at the Ivies, that the coaches have more pull than they do. And it's not really the case. We still have to go pretty high academically for the Ivy Leagues. We can't just pull anybody in. There's a very set standard for us and what we can and can't bring in as student athletes. And it's still really high. You can't just bring, because you're an athlete, we can't just bring you in because you're an athlete. You got to be able to pass a couple of tests, to jump through a couple of hurdles, jump through some hoops to get through the process. And then after that, we can, look at where the lists fall in terms of your ability to get into the schools. The other thing is that you got to make sure that you continuously send stuff, not like once a week or every day, but periodically send information, because coaches are kind of slow, not really slow, but forgetful, I'd say, more than anything. But if you keep on pounding them with emails once every couple of weeks, once a month, with new information, where you're going to be, or new game film, or new transcripts coming up at the end of June or end of May or whatever it is, just so that they consistently have information on you, I think it's a big plus than the coaches trying to go out and get that information out of unreliable sources. But if you've provided, I think it'd be a big step in the right direction.
Excellent. That's a great piece of advice. Basically, be your best advocate and just be the squeaky wheel, I would say, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's good to give updates on, scores or grades or test scores, but not really if you get a new dog or your sister got this or whatever. And just make sure it's, pertinent to the information that you want to give to the coach.
Excellent. Well, this has been Derek Ellingson, the women's coach at Princeton University. Give us more information about the college recruiting process. This is Damon Newman from American Water Polo. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, AmericanWaterPolo.org. And remember, it's important to stay connected to what's important to you.